uh, European Union. So we are fifth. So we still have a scope. If we could have thought of having a parallel railway track run by a private organization, and then you can compare the efficiency, giving the flexibility to railway to decide the prices, then you can actually compare that it is efficient or not. See, it's not a rocket science. We all understand that why this privatization effort is being carried out. It is not to promote efficiency. Actual purpose is that government need a huge coffer to control the fiscal deficit. Unfortunate part is that we all go in the mathematics of economics, where we feel that to control the physical deficit, if we'll sell our jewels, then then we can say that our economy is in good shape. How many years you can keep on selling the asset which has been created by public sector or the government sector in the last 6 7 decades? You can exhaust all these in next 3 4 5 years, and after that what will happen? So this is the time where we all decision makers, policy makers, the policy influenciers, and the general public, we all need to understand that this method to control the physicals of the country, this still it is a flaw. Ideal calculation of physical deficit should have been, if you are doing any infrastructure investment, that should be removed from that. If you are selling any of the government asset, that also should be removed. That should not be considered. And without that, if you are controlling your deficit, then that is your efficiency. It is not efficiency that you can sell everything and you will say that our fiscal deficit is under control. And this is what is going on, because government is telling that I'll privatize. Which railway track is being privatized, or which railway has been privatized? Which will be the profit making? Now the like Tejas has been privatized. Now what happened that when of course our exports are from railway, they can throw better light. But wherever railway is not making money, that portion will not be privatized. Those losses where railway is making money, that will be privatized. And then again, you will say that the railway is even less efficient. So if our effort is to create an infrastructure, that infrastructure should be created in parallel. This type of example has worked in many countries across the world. So let's have a fruitful deliberation today, so that we will be able to influence the decision makers in the right direction. Otherwise, the next generation of the country will not pardon us, because we, as a representative of different collectives, we have not fulfilled our role in that. So let's have a healthy and fruitful discussion today. All the best.
I request Mr. Ilangovan to be the first speaker. He is Vice President of the Dakshin Railway Employees Union. Please.
Good evening, all comrades. I thank Comrade Franco and Comrade Mr. Devasahayamji for organizing this webinar on railways. Really, Indian Railways is a mammoth organization. It is the fourth largest network in the world. It has 2.3 crore passengers every day and 3.2 million goods traffic every day, million tons of traffic every day. But even then, railways are not the, there is a perception that Indian Railways is the dominant mode of transport. It was so in 1950. 1950, there were 89% of the goods traffic was in railways. Only 11% was on the road. Now it has come down to 30%. And passenger segment, 74.3% of the passengers were in the country on railways. Now it has come down to 12.9%. So you can understand the traffic has gone to road. This is because of the policy pursued by the successive governments, starving the railways of investment. So the argument placed for private, not efficiency or inefficiency. the argument placed by the government and successive governments is that necessary investments are not forthcoming. So in this respect, I would like to draw your kind attention to the perspective of railway privatization in the past and now. Earlier, before 1924, railways were constructed, operated, and maintained mostly by private. Government also invested in railways and constructed, operated, and maintained. By 1924, there were large number of government-owned railways, but managed by private. Also, there were private managed railways, private owned and managed railways. By 1924 and after that, the British government felt that expansion of rail network was not possible with the private, because private did not come forth for investing in railways. They did not want to expand the railway network. Even though the British government assured them 5% returns, they did not come forth. They only inflated the investment and got the benefit of returns. So government decided. There was also large amount of opinion in the media in the country. Therefore, it was started privatizing Indian railways. Between 1924 and 1944, Indian railways, all the railways, either owned by private or owned by government but managed by railway, all were brought under the government ownership. So this is the history of privatization in Indian railways, nationalization in this Indian railways. After, during independence struggle, industrialists of this country wanted that railways should be with the government. So in 1948, Jawaharlal Nehru announced industrial policy in which he said 3 industries will remain with the government. One is railways, defense, and atomic energy. And railway transport was allowed to be in railway, a government. After that, in 1956, an industrial policy statement was issued by the government of India, Jawaharlal Nehru government. That policy statement was considered economic constitution of India. In that, the 17 industries were reserved for public sector and government. After that, in 1991, when the neoliberal policies were introduced, there was a policy statement by the Congress government. So their policy statement stated that only 8 industries out of the 17 are to be reserved for public. All the other 9 will be de-reserved for private. After that, in 1999, when BJP was there, Vajpayee government was there, they retained this policy statement for 8 industries, but categorized the industries as strategic and non-strategic. In 1991 policy, railway transport was one among the 8 industries. In 1999, strategy and non-strategic industries were separated, identified, and one of the strategic industries is railway transport. Now, after that, in 2009, UPA government came to power. So, in the meanwhile, during NDA government, Vajpayee government, they starting outsourcing all railway activities. In 2009, UPA government published a position paper on Indian railways, in which they stated that railway transport to be in, they accepted 8 industries should be with the railways government, but the railway transport means railway operation, not railway construction, maintenance, design, etc. So the finance, design, construction, maintenance can go to private. That was the clarification given by the UPA 2 government in 2009 in its position paper on Indian Railways. So during this period, they started running. So operation only should remain with the railways. Rest all activities can be outsourced. The outsourcing started, and also public-private partnership started. There was Container Corporation. Container Corporation allowed, because of that, 15 trains for Container Corporation is the railways public sector company. It allowed 15 operators, private operators, to run the container trains in Indian Railways. But operation will only with the railways. So drivers guard will be with the railways. All other will be with them. And also 9 private lines were laid. One of them is Pipavav Kutch Railway Company, Adani's Kutch Railway Company. They are port connectivity lines. So what happened? These 9 railways, gauge conversion was introduced and the lines were handed over to private. It is in the PPP, but operation is with the railways. Then, see, this is how the privatization policy was going on. By that, by 2014, 7.5 lakh contract workers, outsourced employees have come in railways because of this outsourcing. So now, 2014, when BJP came, it issued a policy statement that that policy statement stated that railway transport in 10 areas will be opened for construction, maintenance, also operation. So first time BJP government, Mr. Modi's government started telling operation also will go to private. So 10 areas. But Railway Board chairman said 10 areas means all activities in Indian Railways. So all were about to be privatized and open for domestic and foreign industrialists. Now, 2014, this policy was announced by the government. But in 2014, they appointed Vivek Devarai Committee. Vivek Devarai Committee, so hitherto railway operation was told, but no train operations were handed over to private. But other activities were open for private. But what happened? Vivek Devarai Committee recommended, it was appointed for resource mobilization, to give ways and means for resource mobilization. Because by that time, railway had been in a problem, starved, investments starved. They tried, because government did not invest and to the extent needed. And what happened? They told private can come and lay rails and run trains, but no private came forth to run the railways. From Mamata Banerjee to Lalu Prasad, all the railway ministers tried their level best to bring in PPP in the construction, operation and maintenance, but nobody came forward. Even BJP government offered 80% of the revenue to be borne by the government if there is loss. But even then, no private came forward to lay rails and operate trains.